It's going. I think we're living, guys. I think we're live on Facebook
We're,
now.
we're,
What's going on,
we're
Facebook?
living.
We're living on Facebook. Well, I mean, in a way, figuratively speaking, we are. Everybody smile for Steven's selfie. All right. Hey, if you're jumping on and watching live on Facebook right now, thank you for joining in. I am with Stephen Kim, Taya DeCarlo, and today we're talking about how to position yourself for agent-to-agent referrals, specifically for listings. So if you're watching, first know this, I am testing a new software. It's been glitchy in the past, so hopefully we have no issues with it. But give me a heart, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know who's watching. I think I got a thumbs up. I'm trying to get you, like I have a whole like different interface over here. We're trying to figure it out. But if you're watching, if you have a question for Taya or for Steven or for me, just put it in the chat. We're going to go for like 10 or 15 minutes. And our goal today is really like, let's straight up talk about listings because we know like in your markets, Steven, you're in Toronto, Taya, you're out in LA. Are listings hard to come by?
Yes, listings are always hard to come by. I don't
Right.
feel like it matters what market you're in.
Right. Right. Well, and I think right now we're seeing across the US and Canada and elsewhere, like we're seeing a massive inventory shortage. So something I've been pretty committed to on my social media in particular is really thinking through tactically what are some strategies around listing attraction, exhausting all efforts. We've talked about, like if you go to my Instagram, you'll see a lot of different strategies that I've laid out. But I want to talk to you two because both of you are amazing at generating agent-to-agent referrals. So real quick, I think we all have the same followers for the most part, so they probably already know you guys. But real quick, if you would just kind of quickly tell everybody who you are, where you do business, and just walk us through 30,000-foot view of your agent-to-agent referral business. Taya, you want to kick us off while I try to figure out how to make this thing work?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
So my name's Taya DeCarlo. I'm an agent at Compass in Los Angeles. And taking that big bird's eye view of my business, in the beginning of my career, I've been doing this now full time since 2012. In the beginning of my career, I was mostly a buyer's agent. And I dreamed of being listing heavy in my business. And it wasn't until really 2020 that there was a huge shift in my business where all of a sudden the vast majority of the deals I was doing were listings. And now my phone rings not only from people in my database, but a lot of agents from around the country will call and say, hey, I have this listing referral, and we'll dive deep into this, but it's mostly agents who follow me on Instagram or any form of social media. Now it's Clubhouse too. I'm getting a lot of high quality engagement from that platform. And then people who know me in my real life, whether it be a parent of a child that goes to school with my kid, is like, hey, I follow you on Instagram and I watched Taya's 2 cents, and would you list my 2 properties? Like that was an example of something that happened last year that I can go into really dissect how that lead came in and how I converted it. But it was all really, if I didn't have video on social media, this business would not be happening for me.
All right. So it's video for you. It's social media. It's consistency across social. It's stepping into new platforms like Clubhouse and really building relationships. We'll go deeper on that, but I appreciate the high level. Stephen Kim, Toronto, tell us about your overarching grand master plan for generating agent-to-agent referrals on social.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually would. I'm going to follow in Taya's footsteps. I started 2012 part time. I went full time back in 2019, and it really was 2020, the same year for Taya as well, where I started to become a little bit more listing dominant. This year, in 2021, I've only worked with one buyer, and we've had 10 properties that I've listed up until this point. So being very listing dominant, listing heavy right now in terms of what I do, it's social media. And so just like Taya, just like you, Coach, heavy on Instagram, heavy on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, specific YouTube content. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I find that to be the one piece of content that is driving the most amount of listings right now in 2021. But posting 1 to 2 videos every single day across all social media platforms. The agent-to-agent referral component is really, there's a lot of agents who follow me all across North America. It's the same concept of being in front of your database. I took that and now I'm just in front of a lot of agents on a daily basis. So high touch points. Absolutely.
So I have 2 questions for both of you guys. So clearly both of you are very, social media is integral to how you're generating agent-to-agent referrals. So my first question is walk us through the corollary there. How does social media, you can't see my hands. I'll go like, how does social media, we'll do vertical stack, social media and agent to agent kind of go together? And then my second question I'll come back to is, how do you specifically gear it to attract listings? Because some people may be watching and they're like, oh, that's pretty straightforward as far as how to generate referral business through social, but how to specifically position for listings. So real quick, just walk us through, how does social media generate agent referrals? I just walk us through like we're 6 years old.
I would say that, like anything else that I'm looking to purchase in life, whether it be on Amazon or something, I'm going to read reviews and I'm going to look to something to say, prove it. If something says it does something, I want to watch a video that says prove it, right? Even if it's a handbag that I'm buying, I'm going to buy it because I saw a video of some girl opening up the bag and it has all these pockets and she's proving it to me, right? So I found that the moment I started proving my knowledge, and Jason, this was all you. This was early. I think this was like, right, I did all the work, but you said to me something that changed my point of view on everything. You said, you need to be the knowledge broker and on a regular basis, prove to people, show them in action what you're doing and have it be high quality. And so it was right when COVID first hit. I'll just give you a tangible example. I had my first listing during COVID. This was like the first week of April and everyone was like, shit, how's this going to go down? Right? Are we going to get a ton of buyers? What's going to happen? And so I did every video possible. I did a live Facebook. I did a live Instagram open house. Everything was literally online. And from that, documenting the entire experience, doing the case study. Like if you go to my Instagram and you can pull up that post of me jumping in the pool, where I was like, hey, this new listing is about to hit the market and we're going to make a splash. And I jump in the pool with all my clothes on. All of a sudden people are like, what is going on with this? She will do whatever it takes to sell that house.
She's committed.
Dude, it went, for me, it went, well, I think it had like 7,000 views, something like that.
I think it was more.
Yeah. And I did a case study of how many COVID compliant showings did I have? How, what was the process of getting people through the door? What did a virtual open house look like? Some people don't even know what that is. So I explained it to them and I literally dripped that out to all these people. Well, from that moment, it was like a domino effect. And then I had my weekly video content after that, where I'm explaining to people the real estate process. Here are the 5 tips on selling your home. Here are the 5 biggest mistakes that sellers make. I'm educating people on a weekly basis. I'm building trust and I'm showing them behind the scenes of me doing it. And now they're like, well, screw going on Zillow or all these other websites to find a local realtor. I'm just going to call Taya and see if she covers that area. And that's what's been happening now. I'm not serving a geographic area. I'm serving a demographic of people our age, our peers, who are like, my mom's a realtor. I swear to God, that listing where I jumped in the pool, he's like, my mom's an agent, but I don't really want her to get it done. So can you sell it for me? And they're like, you only have one chance to get it done. Can you sell the house? And now that I've shown people I can do it, it's a no-brainer. Now the phone just rings, but you have to put in that sweat equity of like taking that one tiny opportunity that someone's going to give you and just explode it. Do everything under the sun to market it. So
and then document it every step of the way on social.
Yes,
absolutely. Stephen, what would you say? Like, help us understand real quick. So the first question is how does social media impact agent to agent relationships, especially when, to Taya's point, most of what she's doing is consumer, I got to get my air quotes in here, consumer facing content. Yet, Taya, tell me, are the majority of your followers on social agents or consumers?
Agents.
All right. Steve, what about you? Agents or consumers?
It's more consumers than agents.
Yours is more consumers. Interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing your agent group is growing pretty rapidly.
Yeah, my agent group is growing quite rapidly. To piggyback onto Taya, is you got to be the knowledge broker in your area. And so just like Taya's got that weekly show, I have a weekly real estate show. And really, I'm just regurgitating our board stats. I'm not I'm not making any predictions. I'm just giving you the information. Now, specifically with kind of agent to agent referrals, I don't look at it any different than just kind of a consumer checking out my content and being like, you know what, I like the guy's vibe. He's at least worth a DM. So I think agents are going to, you know, they're only going to refer their clients to you if you have a similar type of vibe. And I know that. If you couple that with kind of really solid market knowledge, it's a win-win at that point. And so there isn't much to it apart from be the knowledge broker, have consistent content. I think that's another key to it, is being consistently, you know, in front of people is a game changer.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. I love that. Okay.
I'd love to add on to something he just said. You know, being in California this past year, a lot of people are leaving California and going to other places, right? So I had never really experienced in my career needing to find an agent to refer to. I was always used to incoming referrals, right? So I had one bad experience this past year where I referred a listing out and it did not go well. Like, yes, they got the property sold, but the level of the lack of communication for that part, it just was not. If I could do it all over again, I would have picked someone else. So now when someone says, hey, do you know an agent X area, I'll go straight to Instagram. And if you haven't posted in 3 months, I'm like, you know what? I don't know how hip they are.
Hey, I do the exact same thing. I do the exact same thing when I'm referring listings and clients out. I go to Instagram first before Google.
Well, so one of the hacks you should obviously do, like, not obviously, but you should definitely consider now is on everybody's Instagram, you have your username. My username is Jason Pantana. Taya's is Taya DeCarlo. Steve Kim's is Stephen Kim Homes, right?
Yeah.
But you also get your display name. And your display name can be customized. So you could have like Taya, what your display name is like Taya DeCarlo, LA Realtor.
Yeah, LA Realtor with a little sun on it, because I actually had a couple agents in Clubhouse invite me to their Louisiana room. And I was like, oh no, y'all, I'm the other LA.
The other LA. But I'd love to come. I'm open to referrals. I think that what's important about that is, like, I can imagine somebody's in a context where they're like, oh, who is that awesome agent in Toronto I met? And they go to the Instagram Explore section, the magnifying glass, and they type in Toronto. And if they're following you, they see Stephen Kim Toronto or something like that because of your display name. And then it's like, oh, it's that guy. I love his content. And then the referral happens through your DMs. So first and foremost, I think we have to establish, like, what's the catalyst behind how agent-to-agent referrals work on social? And the answer is, I know that we're creating content for a consumer-based audience, but really, I think the real trick is we're really creating content for an agent-based audience, or at least in part. That's the unspoken audience. And for Taya, I know for you, for sure, there's a lot of agents who are watching what you're doing, Steve Kim too, and they're like, oh, I love what they did with this post or this video. I'm going to take that, rip it off, and duplicate it in my marketplace. And then they sort of look to you as kind of like the examples of what to do, but it builds the relationship. And all of a sudden, it just establishes that level of connection between you guys. And so people are constantly going to DM you. You become examples in that front because both of you make really amazing content. I want us to go deeper for a second, if we could, tactically, and as best as we can. I want to try to hammer this. I'm trying to figure out the question. What do you think you've done that's enabled you both in the past year or so to really get positioned for referrals through your social media marketing to agents?
What have we done specifically? I'm
sorry, that was the wrong word. I forgot the most important word. I was like sounding so smart for pods. Like, what is he talking about? For listing referrals. Specifically, how have you set it up to get more listing side referrals versus buy side?
You mean like the specific tactics that we're doing through Instagram? Yeah,
you both made a comment. I'm going to have to repeat myself now because I screwed that up royally. Sorry. Both of you made a comment that in 2020 you became more listing agents. You're still getting the agent-agent referrals on social, but it was more on the listing side.
Yeah.
What do you think happened that caused that somebody else could look at it and say, oh, I could do that too, to be positioned better for listing referrals? Is there anything in particular? I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Well, I'll say specifically for agent-to-agent referrals, because that's where a lot of my referrals are coming from right now, is that when I'm making content that gives them ideas, right? So when I'm having unique, creative videos that they feel like, oh, wow, I could rip off and duplicate that, they're constantly seeing they're looking for what I'm going to do next. Right. And so I'm catering to that. In fact, if you see my Taya's 2 cents that I just dropped today, I even put on there, I was like, oh, I'm going to ruffle some feathers of a lot of the agents who follow me, and I might even get some unfollows. And then I put on there, and I don't care, like, because it's about double ending deals and it's controversial. But I know I'm not a fool, right? Like, I know a lot of people who follow me are agents. And so I like to have these conversations where I have a strong opinion and someone's going to engage with me, because we all know the algorithm loves engagement.
Right.
So for me, having that weekly video, I'm not kidding you, the Taya's 2 cents, that was one thing that you and Tom have said over and over and over again. Be the knowledge broker, have a weekly show. And I was like, oh, that seems like so much work. And then I finally did it. I finally did it. And I'm not kidding you. Within what, 6 months? But here's the key. Here's the key that people need to understand, though. You have to have a crossover. It can't just be on Instagram, because not everybody is on Instagram, right? So we were saying, like, YouTube is another platform as well. But what I do is I also have my weekly email. And my email, I think, has been instrumental in getting that tipping point of people who follow me on social. They see me every once in a while, to then converting that to like a weekly touch, where they're getting that, and these are people who subscribe to my email. Now, every time you open my email every single week, it says, hey, by the way, new Taya's 2 cents just launched on Instagram. And even if they don't have an Instagram account, they click on it and they get to see the video. Or I have it linked to YouTube or something like that. And so people have actually reached out to me and said, hey, I subscribe to your newsletter. I watch you on Instagram. I know you do LA. Would you take a listing in X area?
Love that. I love that. And I think what you said that's so key is you leave your audience, which is largely agents, waiting to see what you're going to do next in terms of how you do that next listing video, how you jump into a pool or whatever you do. And I think the silent positioning part is you're showing yourself to be doing the job, like you're in your element, listing properties. And so people see you doing the thing that they could refer you business for. They have the proof that you can do it at a super high level. And they're getting ideas from you. I've heard agents say before, how do I get people to follow me who aren't just agents? And the response to that is, that's who you want to follow you. It's more agents.
They actually refer, they actually know the value of a realtor.
Right.
Like this one agent up in Berkeley, I'm pretty sure she's a Tom Ferry client. She called me and she's like, do you do Culver City? And I was like, listen, I used to live in Culver City. Like I serve a demographic. I know that area very well. That house is on a busy corner. It's going to require X, Y, and Z. And I could tell she was very nervous about who she was going to refer this deal to, because that client was not going to be able to buy in Berkeley until they sold that house. And it was right before the holidays. It really mattered. And she's like, look, she literally said this. She goes, I trust you and I feel like I know you because I follow you on Instagram. So I didn't have to do any convincing. She was able to go to bat for me when she spoke to the client and said, look, don't even interview anyone else. Just hire Taya.
Can I ask you about the question real quick? And this is just, I know we're live. I would ask this question if we weren't live. Both of you about a year ago were both reluctant to share social proof. Both of you. On separate, you remember that? Both of you were reluctant to share social proof. Just listed, just sold, all that kind of stuff. And then both of you decided that you'd start doing it. And now both of you are starting to get listing referrals. I'm not trying to force a conclusion, but do you think there's any kind of a connection there?
I want to share, because prior to 2020, I can count on one hand how many listing referrals I received from other agents. Zero. I'll do it here. Zero. Last year in 2020, I had six listing referrals. I closed all 6, and I asked. I'm all about wanting to know how we got connected, what it was about me or the process that intrigued you enough to at least have a DM conversation. Right across the board, every single agent who has sent me a listing referral last year said, your listing videos. Your listing videos are things just on another level. And like what Taya had said, being kind of that pillar for people, or that, not even, I hate the word icon, but being that icon for people to be like, look, she's got such great content. I like that. And so because of that, it's at least worth a little more of my time researching a little bit about Taya. Right across, everyone's like, your listing videos are just next level. And so I know that when I send you, Steve, one of my listing referrals, that video in and of itself is going to be the key differentiator as to why why they're going to go with you, because no one in the marketplace is doing a listing video like that. And then I took your advice, coach, and I said, okay, so all the social proof. Then I started creating these just sold campaigns. How many safe showings, how many offers, how many impressions and views, what was the reach? That social proof, the 3D floor plan, everything in a just sold video was so different than everyone else's postcard saying just sold and a long drawn out story. So I found that the listing video and the just sold video coupled together just blew it up, the listing referrals from agents.
All right. I love it. I have two things I want to hear yet. And then if you guys want to add anything else in, that's great.
I have one. Remind me of one more story about Reels before we wrap this up.
All right. So you remind me too, Stephen, help me. Pinky promise. We're going to remember the Reels. Steve Conley has a question that I want to get to in the comments. By the way, now's a good time if you guys have, I don't know how many people are watching. If you have a question, put it in the chat. And then my question for Steve Kim is YouTube. I want you to talk about YouTube. And then Taya, I want you to talk about Clubhouse in this whole agent-to-agent listing referrals bit. Stephen, you're up.
Okay.
2 pieces of content every single agent should be pumping it right now on YouTube. Number 1, what are the pros and cons of moving to your city? 100%. Actually, sorry, I lied. 3 things. What are the pros and cons of moving to your city?
Yep.
The second piece of content, how much does it cost to live in your city?
Killer.
And then the third piece of content, which is the best piece of content, most number of leads coming through right now, are your predictions. The top 3 real estate predictions in your marketplace for 2021. Those 3 pieces of content on YouTube are just lead machine, like just tons and tons of leads.
Lead machine. And how do the leads show up?
And what's wild, I haven't put a single penny behind any of these 3 pieces of content, and just all of the organic leads coming through is off the charts.
It's awesome.
Because YouTube rewards you. If it's a good performing post, they're going to keep pumping it and pumping it and pumping it.
Are they commenting? Are they connecting to your website? How are they reaching out to you?
Through the website.
So they're connecting to your, got it. Cool.
Yeah. They're going to do their due diligence. Where do you exist, Steve? I'm going to Google you. There you are. Perfect. I'm going to send you a DM or an email. Man.
A seller. And then one more thing I would add while I've got the 2 of you, just because having you 2 together makes me think about this. I talk to a lot of team leaders. This is not our topic today, but I talk to team leaders who are like, what's the best way to recruit new agents? And I would argue one of the best ways to do it is to lead by example. Both of you have people who reach out to on a regular basis and say, can I join your team? I want to be on your team. And I'm just talking to, this is not our subject today, but anybody who's like, how do I recruit better? Content. Everything starts and ends with content. If you're creating content, you're positioning yourself to attract more agents in the future. Okay. Taya talks about Clubhouse.
Clubhouse has become one of the biggest, guilty pleasures, first of all. I mean, addictions. But I really, so for those of you who don't know, Clubhouse is still in beta format. It's a new audio-based app where I call it like a live podcast. Imagine if you could tune in a live podcast where some of your favorite people are up speaking on a virtual stage. And if you want them to contribute or you can raise your hand and you can actually engage. And these can be intimate rooms, like, virtual rooms that are 20 people or 2,000 people. There are actually celebrities and, authors. And Chris Voss, I was in a room with recently with like 1,800 other people. And I was like, Chris Voss, is it like, it's so random. So Clubhouse is something that if you have, unfortunately, since it is in beta mode, you have to have an Apple phone, an iPhone, or an iPad. But eventually they're going to open the floodgates and everyone's going to be able to join. But it has been huge in organically growing my Instagram account. So a lot of people who'd never known about me before, had never met me, whatnot, I'm now moderating certain rooms, contributing to different rooms, and it's linked to my Instagram. So, and there's no messaging, tool on that app. Right. So you have to link either
to Instagram.
Yeah, you have to link to the Instagram and DM. Yeah. So I've probably acquired another 2,000 organic followers just from Clubhouse in the last 2 months.
That's amazing.
Wow. It's huge. And at least 3 agent-to-agent referral leads from that.
Let me jump in. What's the strategy in terms of, and this is probably very simple and obvious, what's the strategy for using Clubhouse to position for agent-to-agent referrals?
Well, I think agents are very thirsty for knowledge. There are agents out there who've been in the business for years and they're trying to stay on top of trends.
Yeah.
There are a lot of new, like, what do I do if I have no capital and I can't do open houses? And so they want to be, and we're social beings, you guys. Like, we are so hungry for social interaction. We miss having our face-to-face events. So Clubhouse for me has really filled my cup in a sense that if I can't go to these live events, I can go to virtual events where I'm interacting, with people like Zach and a bunch of other people who are within the Tom Ferry community.
We're doing one with Tom tomorrow.
Ideas. Yeah, we can share ideas and we can inspire one another, lift each other up, answer specific questions, or just sit back and listen. Like, that's what I love, is just being a fly on the wall and just listening to what people are talking about and what's worked for them and the struggles that they've had. Because look, real estate is not rocket science. We're not reinventing the wheel. We can actually rip off and duplicate what's been done right and just put our own spin on it. So Clubhouse has been huge for me to learn, but also to give back, build trust, and get results.
Dog's upset over here. Hang on.
Love going live. I love Clubhouse. It's such a great
platform. My God. The views just went up.
My family just got home, so she's whining. She wants to get out of my office. Let me let her out. Go ahead,
oh my God. Literally, I bet his views just went through the roof.
How does she build agent-to-agent referrals?
No, Clubhouse has been a game changer, I think, for people who, and plus some people want to, if they're driving, they don't have time to be on Instagram or whatnot. So sometimes when I'm just driving, from a listing or whatnot, I turn on Clubhouse instead of the radio, and I feel like I'm listening to just, people sharing knowledge. It's amazing.
I would add this about Clubhouse. I've had several coaching clients I work with where when we analyze their year-over-year production, where they get the deals from, one of the lead sources that has been really kind of strapped in 2020 was a lot of agents go to a lot of events. They go to brand events, they go to their Tom Ferry events, and they hang out, network, and build relationships with other agents. And that's pretty much been paused for the last year and will continue to be relatively paused. And so I've been encouraging them, hey, you need to go to the Clubhouse and start having those networking opportunities, the one-on-one belly-to-belly time with other agents, because it does really matter. All right, so real quick, thank you for telling me it's an adorable puppy. I'm going to go through some questions and then Reels. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, I just want to talk about one tactical tip for Reels.
All right, so first, one question was, how do I follow these two agents, Steve and Kim Holmes on Instagram, Taya DiCarlo, DiCarlo on Instagram. Taya, Taya DiCarlo, and I'll link it up when I do the replay, just so you can follow that way. Stephen Conley, Mr. Steve Conley, down in Florida Keys, says, as busy as each of you are with contracts, closings, etc., how do you manage to get those videos in each day? Stephen, I want to hear from you.
Right, go ahead.
This is the Elite Retreat talk, right?
Totally.
You got to time block it. I use it. It's just like what Tom and even you, Coach, you talk about. You gotta stay consistent with your prospecting. So 3, 2, 1, like 3 hours of doing something in your business, whether it's prospecting, writing emails, writing cards, whatever the case may be. You got to stay consistent with it. So for me, I actually time block every single Monday. So either between 10:30 to 2:30, 11:30 to 2:30, I time block it and I stay a month ahead of content. Now, when I drop this and I say, well, I do 1 to 2 videos every single day, people are like, that's crazy. Like, I don't even know where to start. Do 1 video a week, but be consistent. Pick the day and be consistent and try to stay a month ahead at all times. Because if you don't, you won't stay consistent.
How many days a week are you filming?
1 day.
Okay. 1 day a week are you filming? Taya, how often are you filming?
Just for Taya's 2 cents, 1 day a month.
1 day a month. And what about On Trend LA?
We're doing that now. That one's taking a lot longer because it's more high production.
Yeah.
And it's getting better and better each episode we do. Our last episode of On Trend LA has exploded. I mean, it's like we had a celebrity guest.
Nice.
I'm meeting new people. I mean, I think our next episode is going to be pretty amazing. But that one is a full day.
Okay.
I mean,
but how often?
Every month and a half.
Okay. So for every 45 days, we do a full day for On Trend LA. You're knocking out, how many Taya's 2 cents can you knock out in 1 day?
I mean, shit, I knock out 4 episodes in like 2 hours. I mean, after a while, you get this. And by the way,
this button's better for that. That's for
Oh,
you.
that's my favorite. But I will say, like, at 3:00 today, I have a call with Ricky, my video guy, and he's keeping me accountable. You know why? I have him on retainer. I pay him the big bucks, and he's like, "Hey, girl, we need to talk about Taya's 2 cents. We need to shoot this week. You know what time frame works best for you?" And for the ladies out there who are like, their wardrobe means something to them, I use Rent the Runway. I rent my clothes.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and so that way I
Nice.
constantly have something new because I'm thinking about the thumbnails and what time of year it's going to be. So I plan my outfits out in advance. But the key here is content banking. And the other thing is that, yes, we are busy agents, but I consider my social media time my prospecting time. I
Totally.
prospect in the DMs. I do not prospect old school now, dialing for dollars. Like, I know Tom's probably cringing right now, but like I you
Tom
know,
would say there's no wrong way to make an income. Track and measure
how about this?
everything, and if it
I
works, dial it
DM
up.
for dollars. You heard it here first. DM for dollars.
Nice.
I do.
Excellent. I'm having too much fun pushing the buttons on this thing with sound effects. Okay. Talk to us about Reels, and then I gotta jump off here
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about different things that you can do. You talked about like YouTube and different types of videos you can do. Consider this, that your proof of success was a really hard thing for me to share because I felt like I didn't want to be narcissistic and I didn't want people to think I was tooting my own horn and all this BS. So I also did case study type just sold, right? To say this is how many showings we had, da 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 da. Or if it was hard, the shit does get hard, especially if you're representing a buyer in this market or whatnot. Tell the struggle. Show the little mountain emoji and say like, look, this is what we did to get here. But more importantly, whenever I have a closing for a buyer, I know we were talking about listings, but whenever I have a closing for a buyer, I do these key reels. And so if you go to my reels now, I pick a different home themed song. I'll get my quotes, home themed song.
You're tiny.
And I've had some of these videos get over 8,000 views. And believe it or not, and this is like the key ceremony where like I'm handing the key off and I edit it in Reels, kind of like a TikTok short form video where it's super fun and it's creative and it shows the buyers at the end. They're like, yay, we got our keys. Well, get this. I represented a seller. We closed the deal. I don't have like a key video for the sellers. Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of a buyer thing. The buyer who I did not represent, okay, she later on needed to call the seller for something, to get the code for something. And she goes, by the way, did Taya do a video for you? And my client goes, what are you talking about? And she goes, oh, she didn't do a key video for you. And she goes, what? She goes, well, I follow Taya on Instagram. This is not even my client. And she's like, and she did these closing videos and she didn't do one for you. And my client goes, well, that's because I'm a seller. I'm not like going to have a video of me giving away my keys, but whatever. So the funny thing is that people are watching these, they are engaging. And now I've branded myself as this Instagram modern agent who's doing these creative, just sold celebratory things that now people are expecting. So now on closing days with my buyers, they go, so I have a song video. And I'm like, yes, that's amazing. That's part of the closing process. So it's making it fun.
That is fun. That's awesome.
I love it.
All right. So just, Steven, anything you want to add before I kind of sum things up real quick?
Yeah, reels are huge. And so I dropped a reel like 6 days ago and I said, what does $1 million get you? Boom, in this neighborhood. And it just hit 10,000. That's my first reel. I've only done 5 reels since I started, 5 or 6. That's the first one that hit 10,000 in less than a week. And I was like,
you should be aiming for 1 reel a week. So I've been telling most of my clients, you need to do 1 IGTV a week, 1 reel a week, at least 3 supporting posts a week, and never don't have a story. That's kind of the minimum standards. If you can do that, like 1 reel, 1 IGTV, 3 supporting posts, never don't have a story, you're going to be on your way to creating enough content, I think, to be able to attract more business through people who don't know you, they're actual consumers, but also like what we're talking about today, through agent referrals. And the reason I wanted to talk to the two of you is because I know both of you have consistently for a number of years now generated a lot of agent-to-agent business because of namely Instagram, but also YouTube and Clubhouse and other social networks. And of course, Facebook. Who can forget Facebook? We're on Facebook now. We still like you, Facebook.
Yay,
But I
Facebook.
think what's so interesting about the two of you is how you become listing agents by referral through your social media efforts. And some of my big takeaways were social proof matters, documenting what you're doing to get properties sold, positioning and showcasing yourself as a listing agent helps create that little connection. Oh, Taya, oh, Steven, they sell houses for people, not just buyers. I know a lot of agents want to do a ton of social proof, but a ton of knowledge broker, but they don't drop in social proof to reinforce the evidence of their success.
Yeah.
And I think that's a limiting factor. And I also believe like you got to keep pushing the envelope, keep making more content, keep offering your stuff. Don't hide stuff from other agents. I know a lot of agents who are like, I don't want to tell them what I do. They're my competition. No, they're not. They're your lead source. Tell them exactly what you do because they live 2,000 miles away and they can refer you business. Anyways, you guys are amazing. Connect with Stephen Kim and Taya DeCarlo on Instagram, Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Grateful for you two. And I think that's about it. Anything else, guys, to add before we wrap up?
No, this is so much
This is fun. All right. And the software hasn't failed yet, at least not that I know of.
Love it.
All right.
Love it.
Signing off. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Peace, everyone. Bye.